Okay, so I'm just going to give a quick overview. I mean, obviously, I won't read this word for you guys, but just to kind of give you a quick rundown about our industry. So we pretty much rent out any size equipment, earth moving, small power tools, a lot of different pump power, climate control types of equipment. I mean, pretty much anything that you can think of related to various different industries that are going to require large and small equipment for short or even long periods of time. I mean, we probably have it. And that would be any types of lots of different industries ranging from, you know, construction is the typical ones that people think of first. Smaller contractors, individual homeowners or business owners, the entertainment industry. I know a lot of people don't always think of that. And that would be movie sets, TV shows, theater, Broadway, also concerts, festivals, sporting events, big tournaments, all things that kind of aren't really happening right now. But any types of big and small events. When I went on a ride along in New York City, they actually had Formula E race, which is if you're familiar with Formula One in Europe, it's similar. It's just electric cars instead, and they had a whole race course set up. And they also, he took me over to a I don't know if it was I guess a mid-sized company had a private picnic, if you will, for their employees for, a summertime thing, but it was this huge tented setup. And so they needed all sorts of cooling equipment, power to have it because it was catered. So, I mean, any types of events that you can think of, that's the kind of stuff that we rent out to. And then your traditional, like I was just mentioning, it's called our Pro Solutions division, and that's heating and cooling, pump and power. So a lot of different markets being served through equipment rental. So Herc Rentals background, just a quick rundown. We've been in the business for over 50 years. Around 4,800 employees with 270 plus branches across the US and Canada. I was already kind of mentioning the various industries and markets that we serve, so I won't go over that. You may have been very familiar with Herc's car rental. And so we used to be partnered, if you will, or owned by Herc's car rental. And as of July 1st, 2016, we separated to become our own standalone publicly traded company known as Herc Rentals. So that's kind of where the color scheme, maybe the familiarity comes from if you didn't already know, but we are completely separated from Hertz. And then just kind of wanted to go over or give you like a brief idea of our vision, mission, values. I mean, we take these very, very seriously. Our CEO, Larry Silber, we're ultimately the big thing, as you can see in the middle, he's very, very focused on safety. So when we rent out equipment, the people using our equipment, we want you to be safe and be able to use the equipment efficiently and effectively and with the utmost safety, as well as our drivers and mechanics that are working on the equipment and people who deliver it. So while all of these are important, you can see, the biggest focus is, of course, on safety. And then Trinice is going to take it away and go over our Black and Gold early career program. Trinice, I'll just keep doing the slides if you just want to tell me when to switch.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So I think everyone should be seeing the Black and Gold early career development program slide, correct? Perfect, perfect. So our Black and Gold program, that is a 1-year, 12-month program that we've designed to really help navigate and propel individuals that are recent grads or, individuals who are transitioning out of colleges and universities into our workforce. We designed this program to help them with that transition. So the program itself, if I can take some liberties and divide it in half. So the first 6 months of the program is really designed to help that person learn the business from the ground up. So they are in one of our designated branches. We have a little over 270 branch locations. So they're in one of those locations, and they are literally going through their first set of their career by learning the business, working with the individuals within the branch, working with the customers, identifying what their needs are, and then coordinating those needs based on what they're looking for and the equipments that we provide them as well, finding solutions for them. Second half is really spent in a transitional phase where we help that person transition them out from being in that branch to possibly owning a territory of their own. So they're spent shadowing territory sales reps, they're spending their time learning the business from the outside in, learning the industry itself from a territory sales rep perspective. So it's a very, very robust program that we have. We've found amazing success with the program. Our Black and Gold program is extremely successful, and we have it a few times throughout the year. So that's one of our highlights today. And Jenna, if you don't mind moving to the next slide. So we just want to highlight some of the benefits to an employee that becomes a part of Herc Rentals. So we offer, really, it says exceptional benefits, but it really is exceptional compensation package. And that's as you're coming in the company from the onset. We provide stock purchasing plans. So if you do purchase our stocks, you're getting it at a discount as an internal employee. Of course, medical benefits, vision, you name it. We've got a really great matching program for our 401k. So that's an important part to think about as you're transitioning into the workforce. And then we absolutely have different opportunities as you go forward. So tuition reimbursement, that's a pertinent one and something to highlight as well. So we can answer any questions around this at the end, but just really want to highlight what we provide as an organization. And we're constantly revising and really seeing what else we can beef up with our benefits as well. So moving on to the next slide. Perfect. Well, this is just a snippet of who we are, our culture, our environment, our workspace. This is really just snapshots of that. One of the things that Jenna and us, we do prior to COVID-19 was to go out into different schools and recruiting events and actively recruit individuals like yourself who are transitioning from school to the workforce. And some of the photos that you see here are examples of that. Others are within our workspace in itself. So we've got a pretty solid culture, a culture that's built around team, a culture that if there's something needs to be done, we jump in and we do it. There is no such thing as it's not my job, but there is everything as, hey, let me help a teammate accomplish a certain goal. So that's really just a highlight of who we are and what we do as Herc Rentals. So that, I think, is the end of the slides, but we are certainly open to any questions that you may have at all.
Thank you. Now, you have the Black and Gold program. Do you have other internship? Is that your internship? Do you have internship when they're in school, any type of programs like that for students?
So we do have, prior to COVID-19, yes, we had an active internship program. However, with COVID-19, that's really, for obvious reasons, given us we had to take a step back from that.
Sure.
This particular program is a full-time position. It's a salaried role as you're coming into the company. So it's not an internship.
Okay, great. Can you tell them?
What is that starting?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What is that, the starting salary role for the Black and Gold program?
So it really depends. It depends on the location. Like I said, we've got quite a bit of location, and honestly, those may differ. But if it's something that you're interested in, you're transitioning into, we can certainly have a little conversation about that.
And does the tuition reimbursement, is that purely for undergraduate or for master's programs as well?
So I think that's going to depend on the role and, you know, how applicable that is to what you're doing. So certainly I would think if you found a position that you were interested in out of our field support center, which is kind of similar to a corporate headquarters, and it was something applicable to the job that you were doing and, you know, future growth with the company, I can't see why not. I don't think there are any set stipulations other than that it's pertinent to your job.
Gotcha. So the Black and Gold program isn't just purely based on one position. It's more of a feel as you go to see what you like, or do they place you into a role once you, like, how does it work?
So that's a really good question. So the Black and Gold Academy is actually geared very much more towards sales. Sales and operations, but predominantly entry-level sales and getting you ready to go out into outside sales. So it's a pretty intensive and very, very comprehensive year-long training that's going to have you get familiarized with not just sales in general, but for our industry in particular. And that includes going over our processes, procedures, our systems, our sales, like what's worked for a lot of our sales reps, learning about the equipment, and kind of just being a lot more ready to kind of hit the ground running once you would go into outside sales versus training you for maybe, you know, a few weeks, having you read a few, you know, training manuals or things about equipment and saying like,
Right.
see you later. So we found that that's why the program has become really successful, because giving you that on-the-job training plus instructor-led training plus some online training has made for a much more successful outcome into outside sales. As far as other placing in other roles, it's definitely still an option. We have a lot of other opportunities, but what I will tell you is that would be out of our field support center, which is in Bonita Springs, Florida. So that would be anything else other than, I mean, there's actually even still like inside sales type roles that are at Bonita Springs, but it's also like think customer service, HR, finance, IT, all those other types of departments are going to be housed out of that location only, for the most part.
Oh, really? So the Bonita Springs one is the corporate?
Yes. So if that's what you're leaning towards, then I would say, yeah, that would be out of better served for the field support center in Bonita Springs. But for sales, that would be pretty much almost anywhere across the US.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you tell the students maybe what you're looking for in a student? Like, are there certain majors that you lean towards, or certain classes and background that you want to see when they're coming and interviewing, what that makes them most successful?
Sure. So what I will tell you is major wise, no, we're pretty open. Like, yes, it's nice if you have the sales background, because I know that a bunch of different schools, I think even I think FGCU offers that as well, right? Okay, that's what I thought. So yes, that's helpful. Yes, that's great. And so is business and communications, but we don't really like to exclude any type of majors, because we find that doesn't mean you're not going to be good at sales or operations, unless the majors matter if you want to be in something very specific like finance or HR or something like that. But I'll have Rob go over. There are actually 3 traits that we're pretty consistent on looking for the program that our CEO is pretty adamant about for all hires, not just for the Black and Gold Academy for sales or any of that, that are pretty important for our organization.
Yeah, and so, you know, I think the big ones, right, are a fire in the belly, mentality, kind of, you know, eager to learn, eager to serve our customers, entrepreneurial, we like to think about our sales representatives as solution providers instead of salesmen, finding the best and safest way for a customer to complete the job that they need. And then, you know, intellectual curiosity is obviously a big one too. We want people that are consistently willing to learn and grow in their career.
Oh, and one other big one, integrity. So I know that that's actually a huge deal for any of us, is especially, I think, in any position, but especially in sales. I think, you know, we want people that are going to be very self-motivated, and, you know, like Rob was saying, that's going to be very both curious and entrepreneurial, but we also want you to be honest. And I think that customers really appreciate that too. So that's important in any role. Like, I can't harp on that enough, but very much so in sales, because I think sometimes we get wrapped up in wanting to make the sale or be very successful, but at the end of the day, all we have is our integrity. So it's very important.
How has COVID affected, you know, the sales side and the Black and Gold program? Has it been more remote now, or are you still bringing people on? You know, I know it's affected a lot of different industries, especially going remote.
So it's definitely changed the way our sales representatives have had to operate, right? They're doing a lot more, you know, over Zoom calls, you know, over the phone meetings with our clients. But I think in another way too, it's allowed us to adapt and grow in how we serve our clients because of that. It's more scheduled meetings. And so there's less chance for, you know, missing that connection and being more intent with your meetings.
Right.
From the Black and Gold Academy side, it has become more remote too, to Rob's point, not just affecting, so with our sales force, but also we just had a kickoff in July, and the kickoff meetings are usually held in Bonita Springs at our headquarters. And, you know, with keeping the health and safety of all the employees in mind, we opted to make it virtual. And we were actually on a bunch of the, you know, we would listen in and watch on a lot of the Microsoft Teams calls. So they did a few throughout the day, 4 days in the week. And I will say, I mean, I think there's something to be said for being able to adapt and pivot in this environment that we're in now, that perhaps will be our new normal. But of course, it's not the same as the face-to-face interactions. You can't really, there's nothing that's an exact replacement for that. But I think given the circumstances, it certainly was still beneficial, because we had speakers from our company that are, you know, made a lot of good presentations, whether it be about pricing, customer service, sales, and then of course our C-suite level. So normally they would come down and speak, and so each of them still made time. You know, our CEO, our CHRO, as well as our COO also came and talked, because they're very invested in the participants of our Black and Gold Academy, because they're the future of sales. So I think, you know, we will probably continue to do a lot of the virtual kickoffs or midpoint meetings for our Black and Gold Academy. But that being said, we're very hopeful that next year or even the end of this year, it's something that we can resume face-to-face.
Did you say that this was the first kickoff for the, you know, since COVID happened with the Black and Gold?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
So I guess it's a little early to notice, you know, if the success rate has dropped off since you're remote or not.
Yeah, I mean, it was in July, and it'll kind of be yet to be seen, because we'll still have the rest of the interactions they would do with their other participants who are all across the US were always going to be virtual and over the phone anyway when they work on a project, in addition to their normal job responsibilities. But as far as not having that same initial meeting face-to-face, I'll actually be very interested to see what the feedback is from the participants.
Right.
So I guess, you know, yet to be determined in the next few months, and kind of comparing that to those who attended last year's or the beginning of the years. You know, there's definitely some to compare to. But I would say better than, you know, the best option was to do it virtually. And I think with our technology we have now with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, we're very, very fortunate to
Better than
have
a
that.
phone call.
Yeah, and not having, because everybody's video was on. There's still interactive stuff you can participate in virtually. It's just not exactly the same when you do breakout groups. So that was different, they said, but I think we will see.
Yeah, because a lot of the, the sales interaction is, body language, feeling out the customer and when you're learning from somebody. So I was curious to know how they gave their feedback on that.
Thank you. Can you just maybe touch base a little bit on the steps to apply for this position, for this type of opportunity?
Sure. Rob, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I think the best way to get started is to, if you're interested, definitely connect with myself and Trinice. And then from there, we can get some first level interviews going. And then we typically like to connect with someone higher up in the business. Do we have a pipeline rec opened up? We do?
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to maybe put the link in the chat box for everyone?
Yeah, great idea. I'll upload.
Awesome. Yeah, so we'll put a link in the chat box, and if you're interested, you can go and apply to that, and that'll give us your resume, and then we can set up next step interviews or initial interviews.
And when do you do the onboarding? Is it just an ongoing rolling, or is it more of like January, July type of thing?
It's a rolling. So I would say we have set times for our kickoff meetings and midpoint meetings for the black and gold. But as far as start dates, I mean, they're pretty flexible, and it's just based off of, once you would apply and interview and do background and things like that. So no set times.
Do we have any other questions? Does anybody want to type anything in, or do you feel there's something that we haven't covered today that you're interested in hearing about?
Well, I had one question if you had time.
Sure, go ahead.
So for jobs outside the Black and Gold Academy, are you still hiring even with the pandemic and everything?
So yes, we are. It depends on the role, the location, the need of the business, which is extremely important. But we are still interviewing and going through our recruitment process for different roles. And our website is a great tool to actually identify those roles and apply if it's something that you're interested in and you qualify for.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
How many people are you looking for to enroll? Like, is there a certain number of spots for the Black and Gold Academy, or you just take however many that apply that spark your interest?
I think more of the latter. So we don't really have a cap. I mean, obviously to a certain extent, you don't want to overload each group because the experience won't be as good. But our last class was about 28 participants. So they do like to keep it a little lower than that. That was a little big, especially for virtual. But I would say it just based on need for the roles, not based on number for the academy.
Gotcha. Is everyone here based out of Florida here?
No, I'm New Jersey.
And I'm in Florida.
I'm Oklahoma City.
Oh, wow.
So we'll also have, in addition to that link to apply, since that's specifically for a sales or ops role in Black and Gold, we'll also have our emails available for Trinice and Rob and myself as well. So if you also want, if you see something you applied for, or you have other questions, or you just want to send your resume, feel free to send any of that or any questions you have to us.
Will you put those, whoops, am I on?
Yes, and the
Are you
link
put those
is in the chat.
The emails?
Sorry, Mary, did I cut you off? My apologies.
Are the emails, are you going to put those in the chat, Jenna, or are they part of this link?
Yeah, no, we'll put them in there in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
How's everyone doing? Do you have any more questions for our team here today? Well, that was very informative. Thank you for your time that you spent with us and to let us know more about Black and Gold. And we have some takeaways. There's a couple of staff on here as well that'll be able to share with departments and give some more information out. I'd like to thank all the students for coming today on a nice rainy afternoon in Florida. You didn't have anything else to do. You had to come and learn about Herc rentals. So, well, one more chance to ask a question if you got it. And if not, we have the emails in the chat. I'll leave that up for a second so that you can grab the link. And if we're ready to, we'll say goodbye.
Okay,
And,
thanks everyone.
Thank you all
Yeah.
for being here.
Thanks
Hi,
for
everyone.
hosting us,
This will
Mary.
be recorded and we'll be able to share it with other students on campus.
Awesome.
All right.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet everyone.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
Bye.